Put a finger down if one night you are dreaming and for the very first time in your life you are lucid dreaming, and you know that you're lucid dreaming because in the dream everything's going fine, and then you and your family go into an elevator, and then all of a sudden this man appears in the elevator and he offers you food, and then you calmly turn and look at him, and then you tell him, I am not going to accept food from you. I know that this is a dream, and I know that when someone offers you food in a dream, you're a demon. So you spiritually rebuke this man in this dream, and for the rest of the dream, you're still very aware that you're lucid dreaming. And then you wake up and you're just asking God, how did that happen? Because you never dreamed before where you were aware that you were dreaming. So then the next day you're trying to go to sleep and you can't help but think about the dream that you had the day before, but for some reason you cannot go to sleep because you keep thinking about the word witchcraft, and you're asking God, Lord, where is this spiritual attack coming from? And you're asking God to please expose, and you hear the Lord telling you that don't worry, he is going to reveal what is going on. So then you start daydreaming about a TikTok that you saw a few months ago where these two girls were on a beach, and then on shore they found a sack, and in that sack was a knife with some paper wrapped around it. And from the comments you can tell that someone had tried to put a curse on somebody, and you just kept thinking about that TikTok, but you have no idea why you're thinking about this sack on the beach. So then you try to get some rest because you have a flight early in the morning to go visit somebody. We're going to call this person L. So you're going to go visit L. So then you wake up the next morning, and then you get to the state where L is, you and your family. And then you're supposed to be going right to your Airbnb, but instead, last minute, the Airbnb host says you cannot check in at 10 o'clock. You have to check in a few hours later. So you're forced to go to L's house, which was never supposed to happen because you were supposed to go directly to the Airbnb. But then you go to L's house, and then the first thing you notice when you get to L's house is a sack that looks exactly like what you were just daydreaming on. And then it all just gets very crystal clear that you were having dreams about a spiritual attack for L, and that you needed to pray over L's home and pray over L to rebuke any spiritual attack that was for L. And you just start thanking God because you know that in the Bible, God says that he sends things to people in riddles. And then you remember how in the Bible, how Jesus talks about all will hear, but only some will really hear, and all will see, but only some will really see, meaning that things are hidden in plain sight for you, especially when you have discernment. So you're just thanking God that he revealed that L was under spiritual attack and that you rebuked it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the sack that I was daydreaming about for witchcraft looks exactly like the sack that was in this house. So then you ask L, who gave you this sack and where did it come from? And then L tells you, and it makes very much perfect sense that this was clearly a spiritual attack. But that's not it. Then later on in the night, you're at the Airbnb, and then you wake up the next morning and your best friend texts you at 5 o'clock in the morning telling you that she had to wake up in the middle of the night because God told her to pray for you and your family and L. And then you're like, oh my gosh, God really sent his angels to protect L because we're all thinking about L to block whatever spiritual attack L is under. And then your best friend keeps telling you that while she was praying, all of a sudden God told her to pray for this particular person, and she doesn't know why she started thinking about this person, and the person that she is praying for happens to be the very same person that gave L this sack. So God revealed where the spiritual attack was coming from, and God used you, your family, and your best friend and the Airbnb host alternating the plans to block this spiritual attack. And that's how discernment works.